My main crew is Maddie Hawes on still camera, Abade Crone.
Today is Thursday, May 11th, 2006. We are at the kindergarten classroom of the Marlboro Elementary School in Marlboro. Today's interview crew is Zoe Chain, still camera, Colby Carpenter on audio recorder, Anna Crone Smith on video camera, and me, Jackson Batchelder, as the interviewer. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your background. Have you always lived in Marlboro, or did you move here from somewhere else?
I moved to Marlboro from Wilmington, Vermont in 1995. And before that I lived in southern New Jersey.
What year did you move here?
To Vermont altogether?
Yes.
I moved to Vermont in 1993.
And what year did you move to Marlboro?
To Marlboro, 1995. When I moved here because I wanted Lloyd to go to school here, and he was in kindergarten. But before that, I worked in Marlboro. I worked in Marlboro in 1994 in David's room. I was David's kind of assistant, helped kids that needed help. And I got pregnant with Lloyd, and I loved your school, so I said, I'm going to move here when I have a kid. And this guy's in kindergarten.
So you've lived here for how many years?
So I've lived in Marlboro for a total of 11 years. No, I'm sorry. I moved here in 2000, not 1995. I moved here in 2000. I've lived here just 6 years.
How would you describe yourself when you were a child?
Well, I was the oldest child in my family, and there were 8 kids. So I was very good at organizing a lot of people and good at taking care of children, and I did lots of shows in my backyard and had lots of clubs and things like that.
May I ask you how old you are now?
42.
Okay. From what college did you graduate?
I graduated from St. Joe's in Philadelphia, St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. What
made you want to work as a teacher?
Well, because I grew up being the oldest of all those kids, I always enjoyed being with children, and I knew as a teacher you didn't have to dress up a lot, and a lot of my friends were going to be in business careers where they had to wear suits and ties and high-heeled shoes, and I didn't want to do all that. And I love the way that kids look at things.
Why have you continued to work as a teacher?
I've continued to work as a teacher because it works really well with mothering, and I have 2 boys, so it lets me still be around them when they're home and be off when they're off.
In what year did you first teach at Marlboro School?
I first taught at Marlboro in 1994.
So that's how many years?
So that would be 12 years ago, but only for a year, and then I left.
Where else have you taught, and why? And what have you taught?
Let's see. Well, I taught skiing in Colorado in Steamboat to preschoolers, who, by the way, could ski on expert runs. Some of them. I taught 6th grade social studies for 5 years in New Jersey. I've been a writing tutor at Marlboro College. I taught at Meeting House Preschool for a couple years, and I've tutored everything from preschool to college level.
What are some of the reasons why you accepted the job at Marlboro School?
Well, Marlboro's it's a great school. They're really child-centered. They're really focused on you guys, so that was important to me. I live in Marlboro, so that was another fit. I believe in investing my energy where my community is. I like the teachers here, and I knew this kindergarten was going to be an exciting, challenging class because it's such a big group. So that was why I took this job this year.
Had you applied for teaching a job anywhere else?
Not this year. When I first moved to Vermont, I applied for a lot of different jobs, but not this year.
What grade do you teach now?
Kindergarten.
Have you taught other grades?
Yep. Did I already answer that? I've taught every grade. I've taught every grade through college.
Do you have a favorite grade to teach?
Well, right now I'm thinking about working with adults. I've never worked too much with adults, so I'm thinking about teaching adults next.
What is it that you like about teaching that grade?
Oh, that didn't fit, did it? So I should think about what my favorite grade is. Well, should I answer about the adults, what I'm going to do next, or should I come up with a favorite grade?
You can answer about the adults.
Well, because I've never worked with adults before, not that extensively, and I'd like them to help. I'd like to support them in getting what they want out of life. Oh, the other population I like to work with is elders.
Do you have a favorite subject to teach?
Social studies.
Have you ever taught classes and subjects other than the ones you just mentioned? What courses?
Huh. So I mentioned, well, I've taught writing, reading, social studies, also math. So math, I've done math and I enjoyed teaching math.
What other kinds of jobs have you had?
I once worked in a morgue. You know what a morgue is? That's where they send dead bodies in a hospital. And my job was to throw away the body parts from operations. So that's my most peculiar job. And then I taught skiing in Colorado. Should I speak louder? Is that noise? I managed a restaurant for 6 years, and I really like that. I had 50 employees. I've managed a bunch of nonprofits. My easiest jobs were once I was a pizza clerk, pizza counter person, and a video clerk. That was fun. I got to watch videos all the time. And let's see, any other jobs? Interesting jobs. I worked here last year as the volunteer coordinator, coordinating community involvement at the school.
How would you compare those jobs to your current teaching job?
Most of those jobs were really spread out, where I was responsible for a lot of things, and this job as Ellen's assistant in the kindergarten, my work is much more focused.
Have you ever had work published in magazines or journals?
Yeah, I'm a writer, forgot to mention that. I've been writing for since Lloyd was born, so I've been writing for about 11 years. And I have things published in all little publications around the area, like the Brattleboro Food Co-op newsletter, the Cracker Barrel magazine in Wilmington, the Mixer in Marlboro, and I've also have 2 stories that are in the Chicken Soup books.
On what subjects and in what journals?
Oops, I just answered my journal. In the Chicken Soup book, I have a story in the Chicken Soup for the Mother-Daughter Soul, and that's a story about my mother helping me find this ring, because I lost it. After she died, she helped me find it. And the other story that I wrote that's in Chicken Soup was about the experience of being with someone when they die. So I write about personal experiences, or I interview people like you guys are doing. Like I wrote a story about Joseph and Anna when they first moved here. And I write stories about people that I'm interested in.
Who would you say has influenced you in your teaching style, and in what ways have they influenced you?
Well, I had a really good education at St. Joe's College. They were really big thinkers about what was important in education. So that was a big influence. And one of the things I like about Marlboro staff is that they're real human. They're really themselves. Each teacher is authentic, and so that really influences me to be more so myself.
What do you like to read for pleasure?
Sorry. What do I like to read for pleasure? Oh, I read all the time. I usually have about 15 books next to my bed. Usually I read things, I read fiction, I read a lot of nonfiction, I love historical fiction. I love when I learn something about something and also be entertained.
What would you say is the most difficult part of your job?
Being with 5-year-olds all day, because they have a lot more energy than I do.
Are there any difficult parts about living in the same town in which you teach?
No, not for me. I like it. I like seeing the kids outside of school and seeing them at South Pond.
Your older son Lloyd is a student at the school and your younger son Aiden is a student in your classroom. What are some of the things you like about that situation? Are there any parts of the situation that are difficult? What parts?
Well, I've always liked coming into the classroom. Since Lloyd was in kindergarten, I'd come for morning meeting or go to all school sing, and when you guys were in Judy and Jody's room, I did the same thing. And now that you're older, in David's room, it's not really as appropriate to come into the room. So it's nice just to be here to see Lloyd once in a while, to walk by his room or have him come down and complain about his snack or things like that. So that's nice. And then Aiden, he's a little more challenging to be in the classroom with. He tends to, you know how you kind of whine to your own parents? He kind of does that a lot with me here. So that's a challenge. But it's great seeing my kids learn.
Would you please describe a typical day at work?
Okay. I get here at 8:15 and no one's in the room yet, and I really like that. Take down the chairs, set up things, make sure my paint colors are all ready. I have some behavior charts I keep track of for kids. I get those all ready. And then before I know it, it's 15 minutes has passed and the kids are here. And they come in, all 13 of them, into that greenhouse back there, and they're noisy and taking off their coats and unpacking their backpacks, and I try and help them. I greet them, say hello, and keep them on track with what they need to do. And then Ellen starts morning meeting, and I just see what needs to be done. And from there, it's pretty much go, go, go the rest of the day, because as you know, kindergartners don't do a lot of things by themselves. They have a lot of adult involvement. And so most of my day is spent meeting the needs of 5- and 6-year-olds.
What do you feel are the more important parts of your job?
Well, supporting Ellen in any way I can. I make her a cup of tea most days. So helping her feel supported in her role, because a kindergarten teacher is so important. And helping kids feel safe and getting what they need, especially kids who have trouble getting what they need without getting in trouble.
What are some of the parts of your job that you particularly like?
I love picking the paint colors. Seems like a silly thing, but I love putting colors out and seeing what kids do with them. And every month I put out different kinds of colors, so I like that a lot.
Are there parts of your job that you dislike?
I like to get a little more breaks, and teaching is not one of those jobs where you get a lot of space to yourself. And I like being with people, but I also like a lot of time to think and write and process, and so that part's challenging for me.
What are some of the ways your job has changed over time?
Well, I first got hired to be an assistant, which usually means, you know, getting things ready, cleaning up. And then as the year progressed, I got more and more involved with supporting some certain kids that needed extra help with their behaviors in kindergarten.
What are some of the ways the students have changed over time?
Oh, well, kids are always changing, especially little ones. I guess over time, maybe over my whole career, kids are more spunky, they're more honest about saying what they want and not just doing what they're told. And I like that. I like what they're thinking.
What are some things about the Marlboro School that you feel are unique?
Well, number one, the teachers are themselves. I said that earlier. They're real human. They act like who they really are. They don't pretend at all. I like that. And we don't necessarily here do exactly what everybody else is doing. We do what's right for the kids and what makes sense for the teachers and the parents and the community, and I like that a lot.
Would you talk about some of your interests outside of teaching?
I love to cook. I love to come up with new recipes, and I love the internet now, because you can just jump right on the internet and type in the food that you have and come up with a cool recipe. I love to write. Like I said, I do that outside of school. I love foreign cultures and traveling. I did quite a bit of traveling when I was younger and hope to do that again.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention but that I haven't already asked you?
Well, you asked me about where I came from, and I guess I didn't maybe tell you a little bit about that, which was that my dad was in the Army when I was a kid, so I didn't live in one place. Every couple of years we were moving, so I lived in Virginia and Colorado and New York and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, a lot of different places. And then I went to school 1 year in London. That's the only other things that I thought of.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks, you guys.